Our featured guest tonight is the lead singer of one of America's most quintessential rock bands, with 3 multi-platinum records and 1 sextuple platinum single that will likely outlast us all. The one and only Kansas. Here to chat about the band, their current tour, their brand new live album, their upcoming show coming in Pensacola, and his own incredible journey through the music industry is none other than Kansas lead singer Ronnie Platt. Ronnie, welcome to the show and good to see you again.
Oh, nice to be here. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So you've had such an incredible journey to get to this moment. Finally on the cusp of finishing out a globetrotting tour with Kansas. How does it feel, first of all, to kind of finally be back out on the road?
Absolutely fantastic. You know, it was very strange to not even see each other for 14 months. And in this band, the music demands that you rehearse. So it was tough not to see each other and to go that long, but now to be back on the road and you know, just in front of people, there's the energy when you're playing a live show, and really miss that. So it's great to be back.
So has the break kind of rejuvenated you and the band in any way? I mean, you know, people say the absence makes the heart grow fonder, you know?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's funny to be off that long. You miss it. You know, it's something that I've done my entire life, probably since the age of 13, 14. I've always been in a band, always playing every weekend or just about every weekend. And, you know, during the week in the summertime, from bars and festivals to casinos, everything on up, just be totally disengaged from that for the first time in my life. Well, it was very strange. And probably the toughest thing about it was not knowing when we were going to go back and if we were going to be back. You know, when they first shut everything down, it's like, you know, well, it'll be 2 months, you know, and we'll be back to normal. Then it was 3 months, then 4 months, then 6 months. And it really started to play with your mind. You know, are we going to be back? And but that's all behind us now. And boy, looking at what's in front of us as far as our schedule, it's fantastic because we are hitting the road hard.
Well, it's interesting you'd say that because, you know, there's actually a Supreme Court case that says that you cannot deny a prisoner calendar or clock because it denies them hope for when they will finally get out.
Yeah.
And not knowing when you'll be able to get back to your normal life is one of those things that is kind of a deprivation of hope. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. You know, when they took away the live shows, or would say when the shows got canceled, I think it also kind of showed everyone just how much music and those communal experiences mean to people. You know, yeah. and how music and sharing it with others is really a big part of the human experience. You know, before I get too much further,
it really is.
Yeah, before I start getting into the world of Kansas, I'd love to chat about your own, you know, journey in the music, Ronnie. You said music was kind of a big part of your earlier years.
Yes.
What would you say was your first music memory, or maybe a moment where a song came over the radio and a light bulb just clicked and in some way and said, this is, I should be looking into this. I should be doing this.
You know, probably when my sister brought home her first acoustic guitar, which I probably stole from her within a day. And then just, you know, my sister's 4 years older than me. And, you know, I was always subjected to put on her stereo. And God, I just remember listening to bands like, you know, Chicago, and my sister had a very limited album selection. And I just started listening to what she had. And God, I think I was 12, 13 when she got that guitar, and I quickly stole it. And that's when it all started. But I mean, my family alone, I've always been around music. All my grandparents played piano. sang. My godfather, my uncle, he sang. My sister played violin and piano growing up. My mother still plays piano, if not daily, pretty often. So it was always a normal thing for me to be around music. But when my sister got that guitar, and then I just, you come into your teenage years and you start discovering bands, of course, the got early bands like Chicago. I became a big Rush fan, and I was always a prog rocker. Always loved Kansas. I loved Yes. All my cover bands. The entire time played in cover bands. I pretty much insisted we're going to be playing some Kansas. We're going to be playing Yes. We're going to be playing some Genesis. If you don't like that, well, I'll be moving along. So it's always been my influence or my experience to be. It's hard to imagine my life without music. It's hard for me to think about what do people do with their time, that aren't involved with music. So it's just a normal environment for me.
And I know you've said before that you've paid your dues. Do you remember a moment any moment at some point in your career where you thought, oh, well, maybe I should just be calling this off? Or was it always going to be essentially your life's devotion and you're going to stick to it, whether you made it to the moment that you're at now or whether you stayed at whatever stage in your life you were then?
I think that's a mistake a lot of musicians make, is they put a goal in their mind of they want to achieve some kind of success. And well, what's the old line? Life is a journey, not a destination. And I really feel music is like that, or at least it has been for me. I never really had a mind thought of, wow, I'm going to be the lead singer of Kansas, or I'm going to be the lead singer of Yes. I never thought like that. I just, no matter what band I was in, no matter what kind of material we were doing, I always wanted to get better. And when that is your motivation, I don't think you put some kind of self-imposed pressure on yourself if I don't make it by the time I'm age 30, I'm going to give it up. And I never thought like that, and it worked out, because I became lead singer of Kansas when I was 52, so it's just been my work ethic and the love of music, probably the love of music more than being in front of an audience or putting some kind of destination in my mind that I had to achieve. I don't think I ever thought like that.
I think maybe a good antidote to illustrate your journey is your audition with Foreigner and how surreptitious it was. Can you walk us through? Can you walk us through that story? I understand it. It may be a little insane.
That is, it really is a great story, because at the time I was in a cover band that did a set of Journey, a set of Bon Jovi, and a set of Foreigner. We would do an hour of each band. That was how I sold the band. And my bass player, my bass player at the time, Jamie, was running the website, and he goes, hey, this guy contacted me a couple times. He's sitting doing some commercial work. And I'm like, $10 is $10, right? So I ended up contacting Jeff Jacobs, who was the keyboard player of Foreigner at the time. And he was pretty elusive about what he was doing. And, Lou was still singing with the band at the time and really struggling. He had that brain tumor, and really, an unfortunate time in Foreigner's life. So, but I just remember Jeff finally, hey, I'm going to level with you. I'm the keyboard player of Foreigner, and we're looking for a new singer. And I'm like, wow, this is fantastic. So he had a studio in Chicago, right downtown Chicago. And I went there and I auditioned, and I actually did the song Urgent. And my buddy Dan went with me, and Dan was in the control
Tough
room
lyrics
with
to
Jeff.
remember.
Right. But I have to admit, I had an unfair advantage because I've been singing Foreigner stuff, for such a long time to begin with. Ironically, Urgent wasn't one of them, but I was so familiar with the song. And I remember being in the recording room, and I'm looking through the window at Jeff, and I sang like the first verse of Urgent, and I could see Jeff just like perk up, like, holy shit. He turned to my buddy Dan's like, this guy's got some pipes. And I sang the song, and I came out into the control room, and he's like, do you know any other Foreigner songs? I'm like, name them. And he played acoustic guitar, and I ended up doing like 4 or 5, like 15-second segments of other Foreigner songs. But he was very straight with me. He said, look, this is a 1,000,000 to 1 shot. I have no doubt that you could do the job, but Mick Jones, he's the boss. He calls the shots. I'm just gonna, submit you. So
Pass it along.
at the time, the only thing, at the time, being on my resume was cover band singer from Chicago. Where I was as far as the standing, or if Mick even ever listened to me, I don't know. But if I was sitting in the desk, I would make the same decision, because Kelly's phenomenal. Kelly's a fantastic singer. Kelly Hansen, who's been with them now for since more than 15 years now. So at that time, I know Kelly, he was in a signed band. I'm sure he had a real nice portfolio. And that was really my introduction into trying to break into that level of band. So it was a learning experience for me, but Jeff was real honest. And I have to tell you, I never really did have any expectations, because, heck, Foreigner, there's got to be 1 million guys auditioning. There's 1 million great singers out there. So I really didn't put high expectations on it, but it was a good experience.
Ronnie, we've got to go on a quick commercial break, pay the bills. Can you stick around to the other side?
Absolutely. I'm here. Let's come back.